Hello and welcome to this read aloud of the second part of Maria Headley's translation of Beowulf. The first part was Hrothgar's lineage and Grendel's several-year-long nightly invasion. So we begin on line 193. As always, depending on where you're at with your background knowledge, comfort with this kind of book, totally up to you. There's a preview of these lines that highlights some of the major moments and themes. And if you're a newer reader or less experienced reader to this kind of poetry, I would listen to that video and take some notes before experiencing the text itself. But all up to you. Line 193. News went global. In Geatland, Hygelac right-hand man heard about Grendel. Bro, here was a warrior like no other, massive, mighty, born of noble blood. He called for a ship to be readied for his band, and boasted he'd try his teeth on this tale, sail in as a savior over the Swan Road, seek that king and lend a hand as defender. His elders understood his quest, and though he was dear to them, they knew better than to spear him with speeches. They augured the omens, and ushered him onward. He found 14 fists for hire, the boldest men of the Geats, and enlisted them as fighters. He, as their captain, went aboard to pilot the vessel with sea skill through keen currents and mean depths. Soon it was time to depart. The boat's belly was wet, and beneath the landlocks these warriors met, cheering, bringing battle gear into her bosom. As sand spit and surf sang, they pushed off and sent themselves to sea, made men. The wind sent them surging. With a foam-feathered throat, their bird flew free, sailing with certainty over salt waters. On the second day she sought a shore, and the men saw cliffs, crags uplifting from the ocean, the end of the voyage. Overboard, the Geats leapt, shifting from sailors to soldiers the moment their souls touched solid earth. Their weapons rattled as they moored the boat, their mail unveiled in sunlight. They thanked God for easy passage in sweet seas. Far above them, the Scyldings' watchman waited. It was his duty to keep these cliffs unclimbed. When his gaze hit gleam, swords and shields glittering across the gangplank, passing without permission, Hrothgar's man set out for the sand on horseback, straight spear in hand, to stand formally and question them. How dare you come to Denmark costumed for war, chainmail and swords? There's a dress code. You're denied. I am the Danes' doorman. This is my lord's door. Who are you that you dare steer your ship for our shore? I am the watcher of these waters, have been for years, and it's my duty to scan the sea for shield-bearing dangers to Danes. I've never seen any force come so confidently over swells, certain of welcome. No, welcome won. Did you send word? No. Were you invited? No, you're not on the guest list. And also, who's the giant? What weapon does he hold? Oh, hell no. He's no small-time soldier. Hall soldier, but noble. Look at his armor. I'm done here. Spies. State your secrets or be denounced. Who are you? What's your business? Where do you come from? I'll ask one more time. You're not coming past this cliff. Answer now or bounce. You men. Who? Where? Why? Their leader unlocked his word hoard. He was the senior soldier, so he spat certainty. We are Geats, born and bred, bound to Hijlak. My father was Edgtheow. No doubt you've heard of him. He was famous. He lived through winters that would have pressed the life from a lesser, and though he's long since left us, everyone, the world over, knows my daddy's name. We come in peace, looking for your lord and land shield, the son of the Halfdane. Kindly give us directions and we'll get gone. We're here to offer ourselves up to the Dane's lord, and our plans are open. No secrets from you. Is it true that something savage walks at night? We've heard the stories that misery stalks and rages here, that good men are endangered here by a stranger in this country. We come to counsel your king on how to cleave his reaver and court calm. If there's respite to be had, I'm the lad to bring it. Otherwise, Hrothgar will be grieving and desperate as long as his hall hangs. I see it there at the horizon. The watchman was unmoved, his authority innate. He sat tall on horseback. I know the difference between words and deeds, as anyone with half a brain does. Thus far, I'll endorse your scheme. You seem a troop true to my lord. The rest is in the proving. Come, then, bring your battle gear. I'll lead you to my leader and send my guards to circle your now tarred ship on the sandbar until it's time for her to rise, ring proud over this rolling road and be boarded again by whichever of you, if any, survive the sword storm you sought. Off they went, agreed, leaving their own mounts, that wide wave rover hitched to rope and anchor. Boars bristled from their cheek shields, gold forced into fierce forms by fire. The watchman led them toward their war. 15 men heeded him and marched with speed until the timbered hall was before them, shimmering, golden. The structure best known under the sea and stars to every citizen of Earth. This was a place real men could be rebirthed, and their guide pointed the path to it, then turned tail, saying, I've been away from my sea view too long. May the fathers leave you living. For me, I return to my ocean post to scan the shore for other enemies. The road was stone cobbled and kept them coming correct, a straight line of marchers, war garbed gleaming, chains linked by hardened hands, their armor ringing loud as any hall bell. By the time they arrived in Heorot, dressed for demons, they were sagging, sea-stung. They stacked shields, wood-weathered, against the walls, then sat down on benches, their metal making music. Their spears, they stood like sleeping soldiers, tall but tilting, gray ash, a death grove. Each maker of armor din was twinned to his weapon. A man of Hrothgar's company, admiring them, inquired, What kingdom sent you here, boys, with your crests and shields, your gilt helmets and gray-clothed chests, your sharpened spears? I'm Hrothgar's herald and officer, and in all my years I have never seen such an impressive assembly of outlanders. You've too much style to be exiles, so I expect you must be heroes, sent to Hrothgar. The man, we know him, his name means nerve, the leader of the Geats, hardcore in his helmet, spoke their mission succinctly. We're Hijlak's reserve, trained and ready. Beowulf's my name. If the Halfdane's son, your leader and lord, will allow me to come to him, I'll explain my errand in a few words. Wulfgar, a Wendel warrior, renowned and warranted for wisdom and for the tempered edge of his nature, replied, I'll ferry your request to our king and ring-giver, lord of the Scyldings, and see what, if anything, he offers in response. I'll return with his answer as quickly as he gives it me. He went, with haste, to Hrothgar's throne. The old man was grey, huddled in pain with his retainers. Bold Wulfgar stood submissive at his shoulder. He knew the score. He whispered the matter to his lord. Geatlanders have come ashore, the sea sullied from their long sail. Their captain and compeller is called Beowulf, and he petitions for words with you. Hrothgar, most generous, don't deny them. They're well-dressed, thus well-born, and thus worthy. And the man who led them here, he looks so right. His chest, broad in girth, his armor blazing bright, blatantly of noble birth. Hrothgar, the Scyldings' helm, lifted his head. Beowulf? I knew him when he was a boy, and I knew his daddy too, Ecgtheow, with whom Hrethel the Geat bedded his daughter down. Their son and heir is here, to bring health to me. A crew of mine once crossed to Geatland with gifts from me to his father, and they brought back a cargo of stories. Ecgtheow's boy, they said, had a hand grip as strong as that of 30 men. As for his band of Geats, hurry, let them in. Holy, how good is God! A hero's been sent here by heaven to defend the Danes from Grendel. At least that's what I hope he's come to do. If he relieves the pressure on our paradise, I'll pay him in gold. Go back before he comes to his senses and runs. Bid him appear before his father's friend. He's more than welcome here in Denmark. Wulfgar returned to the Geats, stood at the door, and said, My king, the East Danes' leader in arms, tells me he knows your father, and that you seafarers are welcome into Heorot. He hails you as you would homecoming soldiers. Go, dressed in your war gear, your helms, your masks, and present yourselves to Hrothgar. No shields necessary, no spears, boys. Leave your slaughter slingers here. Beowulf arose, and around him rose his armored army, though some stayed to guard the war horde by request. They hastened behind their leader through Heorot's radiance. Their battle bringer stood before the fire, glowing, and considered his words. His chainmail, the myth-protecting work of a smith, links netted to one another for war glory. His helmet made him look harder, as so he spoke from behind it. My respects to Hrothgar. I am a kinsman of Hygelac, and over the years, no boasts. I've been known for my promise and prowess. I heard tell of Grendel from sailors. Seriously, the whole world knows the stories, swapped and sworn, of Heorot Hall's early curfew, how every night you surrender to silence when the sun sprints out of heaven, leaving the celestial dome dark. Every elder knew I was the man for you, and blessed my quest, King Hrothgar, because where I'm from, I'm the strongest and the boldest and the bravest and the best. Yes, I mean, I may have bathed in the blood of beasts, netted 5 foul ogres at once, smashed my way into a troll den and come out swinging, gone skinny dipping in a sleeping sea, and made sashimi of some sea monsters. Anyone who fucks with the Geats, bro, they have to fuck with me. They're asking for it, and I deal them death. Now, I want to test my mettle on Grendel, best him, a match from man into meat. Just us two, hand to hand. Sweet. Let me ask one thing, though. King of the Bright Danes, friend of men, dire defender against the dark, he who knows what it means to fight. Trust me on this. Don't refuse my humble request. We came a long way, me and my men, to conquer your curse and cleanse Heorot. This task should be ours, and ours alone, as discussed. I'm told your pest mocks metal. In that case, I'll make my man Hidgelak proud, his fame fiercer. Your boy will enshroud his blade and fight with fingers and nails. No sword, no shield, no safety net, nothing but my grip, a hand-clasped battle to the death. When we see who wins, we'll know who's got God's favor. If it's Grendel, I'll be a mere chapter in his gory story. He'll feast on Geats, ripping my men limb from limb, and I won't be there to protect them. I'll be dead, too, cheekbones chewed and face forgotten, my body dragged to his lair, where he'll fare alone on my severed head, make a banquet of my flesh, he and I, alone again, naturally. Don't cry for this broken boy. Don't lay out what's left of me. If warfare revokes my pass to Earth's kingdom, just send this mail shirt made by Wayland, willed to me by my grandfather Hrethel, to Hidgelak. Horrors happen. I'm grown. I know it. Bro, fate can fuck you up. Hrothgar, the Scyldings' own skull protector, had some things to say. Beowulf, I count you a favored fight friend now. Your father? I knew him from a feud which he began by killing Heathelaf, that too hand to hand, and Heathelaf was a wolfing, so that shit couldn't stand. Your father's country wouldn't keep him. They threw him out. And he set sail over sea to me. I was a young king of the Danes then, hauling up a hoard of treasure. That ladder's rungs burnt beneath me. My brother Haeregar had died. He was the firstborn, the better. I was the lesser brother, but it didn't matter. I fixed your father's feud with fistfuls of old gold, my treasure shipped to stop his country's wound. Ecgtheow owed me allegiance ever after. It hurts my head that the world knows of my grief, of Heorot's heartbreaker. Is there laughter in far-off places at me? At my men? I'm humiliated. My hall force has bent to Grendel's greed, and I'm short of saviors, bleeding the brave, feeding them to fate. God giving ground, not to heroes, but to this 12 winter shit season. And yet, over and over, when golden mead was pouring, warriors swore their safety was nothing compared to Heorot's. They'd sleep with swords, with certainty, but when the sun rose, slaughter. Benches bloody, no sign of those brave soldiers. The floor a pool, where once it was a playground for poets. It's all written in red. Know before you dine, Beowulf. Your predecessors are deceased. But sit down, my new old friend. Boy, enjoy the feast. Take your place in the tale of my heroes and their hopes.